Hello, quilters. I am happy to be here. It's Tuesday, my favorite day to talk to quilters. Today, I'm going to keep it a little short on purpose because I am leaving to go teach this afternoon, to teach tomorrow, but I'm driving. So I wanted to stay home and talk to you before I leave. Um, so what is new in quilter world? What are you quilting? What are your projects? Let me know. What are you working on right now while you're listening, as I know you are? So I am on my way to teach at Pocono Sew and Vac in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And fortunately, that's only about 2 hours from here. So a super easy day for a drive. Um, I won't make all of it in the daylight, but that's okay. It's still going to be, it's another clear, mild day. I'm going to be teaching the handy quilter. The handy quilter van comes to some events, like retailers can schedule a van to come. And what the van does is it brings six machines, six long arm machines that the retailers can set up in their shop. So these are actually hands-on events in the store. And I get to teach people how to long arm quilt while they're on a long arm machine in pairs. So you get to share a machine with another person. So these are always really fun events that I'm teaching where I get to show what you do and then you get to go do it. So thanks to the folks at Pocono Sew and Vac for doing that and providing such a great experience for their customers, their students. I'm going to be teaching basic intro long arm boot camp, intro to Pro Stitcher, which is the computer, the robot that quilts for you. Super fun stuff. I'm going to be teaching free motion quilting in rulers, and I'm going to be teaching background designs, background fills, and grid work, I believe are the classes I'm going to be teaching there. So my car is loaded up. Wow, excuse me. With my spinal injury, I can't carry things and I can't carry them up and down stairs. And my car is under right where I'm sitting. This room on the main level is above my garage, which is not on the main level of my house. So I have to pack everything the night before. And my husband packed the car for me. So I was just waiting to talk to you. Then I could shut my computer down, take my last minute stuff, and take one trip downstairs to the car. So Jeff is the hero. He makes it so that I'm able to teach. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't be able to because I can't move the stuff. Then again, I'd probably move to a one-floor house, an apartment. So I'm all ready to go. I have duplicates of, hold on. I have duplicate of all my wires, of all my makeup, so I can pack the toiletries the night before. I can pack all my cords the night before. I have duplicates of sewing stuff so that I don't need to take my rulers that I'm quilting with. I leave those packed, so that's pretty easy. But this time I'm there for 4 nights and I took my sewing machine with me. So I have a sewing machine that's always packed and a duplicate rotary cutter, scissors, ruler, ironing pad, you name it. And then I've packed a few things. So I have my own little personal quilting retreat. What do you pack when you go on a quilting retreat? Because I have 4 nights in a hotel with takeout dinner, which means, good 4 or 5 hours of sewing every night. Yes. Because teaching isn't good enough, which it is. I also get to quilt. So I have this big bag next to me here, one of the things that I'll carry down. I got this lovely tote bag from Primitive Gatherings when I went there on for their Naughty or Nice retreat. And I just fill it. This is what I leave packed for what I'm going to be taking when I'm sewing not in the house. Let's see. I'm in the chat, but I'm not seeing any chats. So leave a comment. Let me see if the comments are working. Nothing is showing up in chat. Like the chat itself isn't showing up. So I'm sorry. I'm not necessarily going to get your comments. Let me see if there's any on my phone here. Where am I? Going to Facebook, I think. Check out some messages there. I won't get all the messages, but I'll at least get some. Oh, so yes, the comments aren't working. I won't see all your comments today, but Janet is here and she's working on a table runner, marking the border and getting ready to piece the backing of your last t-shirt quilt. Oh, thank you. This is showering last night to get ready for today. So yeah, that hair plus 1 day makes it a little more manageable. So what did I pack for my quilting retreat? The first thing I did was I wound some bobbins. Now, this is one of my secrets that I've been using lately. These are bobbin boats from Dritz, and I have 10 of them. I can wind bobbins in every color that I'm quilting with, and when I go to sit down and machine quilt a quilt, I have all my bobbins ready to go. And I have 10 favorite threads, 10 favorite bobbin colors, but I happen to use the same bobbin on my quilting machine as I do on my piecing machine that travels. So I just grabbed my cream and my gray because that's what I'm going to be quilting. Let's see. What else do I have? I just subscribed to the Primitive Gathering subscription box, and I didn't know what it was when I opened it. I actually thought this was a package of medications, or I would have opened it fresh with you. But here's my Primitive Gathering subscription box. They start new in February, but I joined it like month 5 because they do it 6 times a year. So this is the 5th package of the year, and I got Starburst for box number 5, and there's a bunch of fabrics in there, and we're making these blocks. So I'm just going to use whatever blocks this makes. I took my own background with me. It's already in the car, and I'll be making these blocks. What else? I have Primitive Gatherings, Tilda Quilt and Pillow. And I love Tilda, but I've never actually purchased any Tilda. The Handy Quilter Quilt Along was with Tilda fabric. So now I have the Tilda charm packs and the pattern to make the Tilda quilt and pillow. So I have a whole bunch of gray in the car as my background. And I have cream in the car for the background for the other one. So those are the 2 main things I'll be working on this week. I also brought a backup kit. And my backup kit, this has been out for the last 2 retreats I've been on. It's an old kit. What year is this from? Because I had an order form, so this was from a certain year. 2014. So John Kubinek, Big Rig Quilting, you might want to follow him online. He designed this sound check, and I think it's like almost Amish because it's all solids and it's kind of checkerboard. And it is, how big is the quilt? 87 by 99. So this is going to be a bed quilt for me, a bedspread. And I've had this bagged up for years. And Quilters Depot is in Pittsburgh, or was in Pittsburgh, I'm not sure, but this is a shop I taught at in Pittsburgh, so it's been in their bag. So I have that to make after I'm done with the Primitive Gatherings, if they get done. So this is kind of my just in case. And then I also have one more thing. I taught at Adirondack Quilts last weekend, and because this weekend I was recovering from medical stuff, and I picked up this snowman panel from Primitive Gatherings, which I love. And this isn't a special relationship or anything. This is just fangirl. Love Lisa Bonjean. So I'm ordering the thread to stitch this out, and now I have my Craftsy bag. I have all of the triangles I've cut whenever I've pieced my bindings over the years. So I piece my bindings triangular, diagonal, and I save all of the cutoffs. I've already made a couple quilts out of this bag, but these are all my bindings that I've been keeping for a while. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to piece all my blues into triangles and then sew them around this panel. And I also brought my little 2.5-inch Omnigrid or creative grids ruler to trim them down as I make my half square triangle pairs. Like, I'm sure there's blue in here. Like, oh yeah, this is kind of blue. Nope, that's black. Anyway, there should be blue in here somewhere. Here we go. I have blue. So these are going to be my leaders and enders for the sewing trip that I'm taking from all my hotel sewing. Oh, look, more blue. So I'm going to go through and make that so I can zip that up. So I have 2 projects, a backup project and a leaders and enders project. I think that'll keep me busy for 4 nights. It would be 5 nights, except it's only 2 hours away. So I'm not staying after the last night. I'm done teaching. I'll be out of there by 5:30 and home for a late dinner. So let's see. Any other comments show up today? Nope, I'm not seeing. So I'm just checking. I can see comments on Facebook, and this is on my main Facebook page. It's not in the group, and it's not YouTube, just because the comments aren't showing up here. Other things that I have, things that I've finished in the last week. I had medical treatments on Monday, which come with a big IV bag full of steroids and prednisone, and that makes me Energizer Bunny for a little while before I crash and don't move at all. So I did get some sewing done. The original acorn color block quilt that I made, I quilted that up, not in the way for color blocks, because it was a special quilt for someone. Someone had lost their child, and the acorn meant something in that family. So I just took it on my walking foot and did some cross hatching on it and delivered that yesterday. Also, I made a new quilt and quilted it, and that will show up on YouTube eventually. That I gave away on Sunday because I was at a baby shower. So I did do a lot of quilting. And then I can show you, but can't show you the finished ones because one is not applicable and the other will show up later. But what else do I have that I'm working on? Let me lean over to my pile. I am still working on my bat quilt where I'm quilting spider webs. I don't know if you can see the spider webs in here. So I have that to work on. I pieced up this quilt, and this is going to end up on YouTube probably next week because I'll base this up and quilt it and film it next week. So this is cobblestones, and I will have this fabric available. So this will all be online next week because I have another medical treatment and I'll be doing a lot of quilting. So that one's ready to go. What else do I have? Oh, my last week's leader and ender project. I had 20 bolts or so of this storybook fabric, and I used it as a lot of backing. So I have tons of scraps of it. So I took all of this black and white storybook fabric and used it as a checkerboard with all of my blue color blocks. Didn't even put a dent in my blue color blocks, but this is 60 by 72. So I will baste that up and quilt it. That might be a sanity quilting thing. I'll baste it on Sunday and I can quilt it Monday. And then what's the last thing? On Sunday, I should have been doing work that I want that, would have been filmed and out this week, but I didn't. I looked at the big pile of scraps that I have under my cutting table. I'm like, I really need to cut into those. But my color blocks are overflowing. My boxes of 2.5-inch squares are already overflowing. So I just decided to start making this as my new leader and ender. And I just started cutting different shapes and sewing them together in blocks and then sewing the blocks together for a quilt. Now, this quilt, someone on Sunday, it's my son's sister-in-law that I go to church with. She said, "Do you ever sell quilts? Because I like scrap quilts and I want one for my bed." And I had already started this Saturday night. So I'm like, yep, and I know what you're getting. So she's pretty excited. But I think I'm going to use this quilt to teach how to quilt a small quilt a large quilt on a small sewing machine by splitting your batting and backing. Let me know if you're interested in that type of a class. So as I quilt things, I like to film them and then also make them educational. But I did this because it's fun. So let me see what comments I'm missing. Hi, Laura. And Heather, you are up early if you managed to see me live. Heather's in Australia, so we have a little bit different daylight. And I never know what the time change is because of the time change. I don't know if we're standard or daylight or where we are. And also, Australia actually has half-hour time zones in some places. And I'm like, I would never survive that. And I was in Adelaide, which was a half-hour time zone. And I'm like, you just need to knock on my door and tell me when you need me to come because I can't do half-hour time zones. And I wasn't connected to the internet, and it was before the watches and all of that, so it didn't self-correct. I'm like, I don't know what time it is the whole time I'm here. And Janet, the quilt is great for using up scraps. Yes, for the how to quilt a big quilt on a little machine. Okay, that class is already out there, but I'm going to be putting more content into it and refocusing on that. So if you already own the class, you don't have to buy it again. New content will just show up. Otherwise, I'll be putting that out later. I have these projects that I'm going to be quilting this week, but what I really am going to be doing, this is... I'm teaching this weekend, and then I'm teaching the first weekend in December, and that's it for the year. So I'm home the rest of that time getting ready for 2025 because there's some Black Friday stuff coming up that I want to put out there. I also have a mystery quilt day that I'm going to put out in January, which will be some free how to quilt this and then some new classes coming out. So I have a lot of work to get done in my non-quilting time. Now with quilting, I tend to, I haven't traveled in 4 years and only really started traveling this spring. And it's only once or twice a month. But I also have, traveling with my family or going to take care of mom, going to visit with my mom. And so, I have been in and out, but I don't typically teach a lot in January, February, March, because that's iffy weather up here in the Northeast. So even if it's nice weather in Texas, I still have to get to an airport. And that's hard for me. So January, February, March are 12, I will be traveling back and forth with a few things going on. I have to go, I'm going to go visit with mom for a bit in the winter. But otherwise, I'll be home and putting out this content for you. So I'm really excited at what's coming up and can't wait to share it with you. If anyone is calendaring for next year, put aside the first Saturday in January for a mystery quilt along for a quilt you can finish in one day. And information on that will come out on Black Friday, but it will be the first Saturday in January. I was going to do New Year's Day, but I decided to do that Saturday. And then after that, there will be some free how to finish your quilts, like finish your quilt in 21 days type of stuff coming out. So it's so great being back at work. Because my head is working again, my brain is working again after a couple years of being ill and not really well enough to have my brain function. I didn't know how non-functional my brain was until it turned back on. I'm like, oh my word, I do like people and I like to sew. Crazy, who knew? So that's been fun. Let's see what else is up. And Margaret, another from South Australia. Hello, I'm glad you're here. Because I think South Australia is where Adelaide. No, is that West Australia? I forget. I forget where South Australia is. Is it west south? I think Melbourne is in Victoria. I don't have all the provinces of Australia figured out, but hello in South Australia. I know that you're the southern part, but I can't picture if you're the Perth Adelaide end or the Melbourne Sydney end. So I'll look at a map when I'm done. But I'm really glad you're here. So I know for a fact that I'm going to see one of my followers on here at the Poconos this week. So yay! I would love to catch up with many of you on the road. For right now, I am still teaching just kind of in the northeast quadrant of the U.S. for now, but we'll see if that can expand. Now, my head's working. I need to get my back to work so that I can do more on airplanes and stuff. It's a lot of lugging and carrying that's a little challenging for me. So still working up to it. But if you can find yourself in the Northeast US, maybe we can hook up. Otherwise, I have a lot of online stuff planned for you after my 2-year vacation from working. So thanks for visiting with me. And I'm just checking out the rest of any comments here. I'm sorry for those of you who commented in my Facebook group or who commented on YouTube. I'm not seeing any comments live, and I only have my main Facebook page open on my phone to check comments. But check the newsletter. I sent out a newsletter this morning. This is, let me go this way. Let me move over some more. It is one large leaf. So that is November's color block quilt. And I made mine boring and brown. I want to remake all of my color blocks with a mixture of reds, orange, greens, yellows, and browns to do all of the fall colors in each of the blocks. So I would love to see one of you do that. I just grabbed out some brown already pieced color blocks and made this leaf. The pattern is up and ready to go. It is in my it's in the color blocks class, color blocks 2024 volume 4. The pattern is up there, the coloring page is up there, and I obviously will not be quilting it this week because I'm going to be teaching all week. But I will be back again on Tuesday next at 2:30 New York time, and I hope to see you then. Next week, I'll be talking even faster. Today, I'm talking fast because I'm leaving. Next week, I'll be talking faster because I'm going to have that medication in me again that makes me the Energizer Bunny. So have some caffeine before you tune in. And I would love to see what you're sewing. Um, so take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you again next Tuesday. Happy quilting.